I paid my sister's bills for 4 years, then I found out she and her fiancé stole my investment opportunity and laughed at me, so I made sure their lives fell apart overnight. Hey everyone, before we begin the story, take a moment to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support means the world to our channel and helps us spread more shocking true stories to light. Now let's get started. I was my sister's ATM for 4 years. You know, I never thought I'd be the kind of person posting my life on the internet, but here I am, because what happened to me feels like something straight out of a movie. I'm Jake, 32 years old, and for the last 4 freaking years, I've been sending my sister money every single month. Not a little extra cash here and there. No, I was practically her personal ATM. $900 every month, gone from my paycheck straight in her hands, all to help her and her fiancé stay afloat. This all started back when I was just getting settled into my job as a welder at a local factory. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work, and it paid my bills. I was single, no kids, and I figured, hey, I can afford to help my sister out for a little while. My sister, Emma, 30, and her fiancé, Tyler, 33, were drowning in debt. Too proud to outright ask for money, they dropped hints about their struggles. And like an idiot, I stepped in. That's what family does, right? That's what I told myself. At first, they were grateful. OMG, Jake, you're a lifesaver. We'll pay you back soon. Those were the texts I got in the beginning. But soon, a few months turned into a year. Then 2. Then 4. And guess what? I never saw a dime of that money back. My life took a back seat to theirs. You might think, Jake, why didn't you just stop sending the money? And believe me, I asked myself that question a million times. But every time I considered cutting them off, Emma would send me pictures, bills spread out on their kitchen table, their faces full of stress and desperation. And like a fool, I kept wiring the money. Meanwhile, my own life? Completely on hold. Vacations? Forget it. I hadn't traveled in years. Buying a house? Not even close. My savings were drained. Dating? A complete joke. I'd meet a girl, things would be going great, and then reality would hit. Dates cost money. And when you're choosing between dinner with someone you like or making sure your sister and her fiancé don't lose their home, you start looking like a broke loser real fast. One girl I was seeing even asked me outright, "Why don't you ever take me anywhere nice?" What was I supposed to say? Because my sister and her fiancé are financially incompetent and I'm too much of a pushover to cut them off? Yeah, real attractive. So I stopped dating, stopped going out with friends, even stopped buying decent food. Most nights, I was eating cheap instant ramen. Not the good kind, just the sad, flavorless bricks that taste like regret. And then came the moment that really made me question everything. The wedding request, that broke me. One day, Emma and Tyler called me with big news. They were getting married. Now I thought, finally, maybe this meant they were financially stable enough to handle things on their own. Maybe they'd finally tell me, "Jake, you've done enough. We've got it from here." But no. Instead, Emma called, absolutely buzzing with excitement, and said, "Jake, do you think you could help us pay for the wedding?" I sat there, phone in hand, staring at the wall like I'd just been hit by a truck. I took a deep breath and finally said, "Emma, I already send you $900 every month. I can't give you any more." She went dead silent, like she couldn't believe I'd say no. Like I was the bad guy for not wanting to fund their fancy wedding after already covering their bills for years. The call ended awkwardly, and that night, I sat in my tiny apartment thinking about all the things I could have done with the money I'd given them. A down payment on a house. Gone. A decent car instead of my old 2005 Civic that wheezes in the rain. Gone. A real vacation instead of spending my 1 week off sitting in my apartment, too broke to go anywhere. Yeah, forget it. And yet, I still held out hope that maybe, just maybe, they'd understand. But I was about to learn that Emma and Tyler were not struggling at all. In fact, they were living better than I was. And the moment I found out, everything changed. The moment I realized they were lying. Fast forward a couple of months. It was my dad's birthday, and we were all gathering in my grandma's house for a big family cookout. Kids running around, uncles arguing over who made the best barbecue sauce, the usual chaos. Then Emma and Tyler showed up, grinning from ear to ear like they didn't have a care in the world. And that's when I saw it. They pulled up in a brand new Jeep Cherokee. Not a used one, not a clunker. A fully loaded, fresh off the lot, still has the dealer tags Jeep. I froze mid-step, my brain struggling to process what I was looking at. This was the same couple who had been crying about overdue bills just last week. The same people who had me believing they were one late payment away from losing everything. Tyler must have noticed me staring because he walked over, patting the hood like he was starring in a damn car commercial. "Sweet ride, huh?" he said, smirking. I forced my face to stay neutral. "Yeah, what did you get this?" He shrugged. "Oh, got a great lease deal through work." Then, before I could ask any more questions, he rushed to change the subject. Something about football, something about the Bears sucking again this year. Total BS. Because there was no way in hell a struggling couple, who supposedly needed my money to survive, would get approved for a brand new lease. Then, I noticed something else. Emma, sitting at the picnic table, flashing around a shiny, expensive watch that I had never seen before. Nothing insane like a Rolex, but definitely not the $30 Target special she used to wear. My cousin Penny complimented it. "Wow, Emma loved the watch. Where'd you get it?" Emma winked at Tyler and said, "Oh, just a lucky find at a pawn shop." Something about the way she said it, the way she looked at him, it didn't sit right. I started doing the math in my head. Even with both their jobs, minus their mortgage, utilities, and other expenses, and my $900 a month, they still shouldn't have enough left over for a new car and designer accessories. But I told myself, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe they got a bonus. Maybe they saved up for a while. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then, that night, something happened that made all those doubts disappear. The conversation that changed everything. Later in the evening, I went to the garage to grab some ice from the freezer. As I was scooping into my cup, I overheard Tyler talking to my Uncle Rick. I couldn't see them, but their voices carried. "Tyler, yeah man, we got in early. Ground floor. The returns are already rolling in." "Rick, no kidding? That's impressive. Not every day you find an investment that pays off that fast." "Tyler, exactly. You just have to know the right people." Something in my stomach twisted. I stepped around the corner, and the second Tyler saw me, his whole demeanor shifted. He shut up immediately, like a switch had been flipped. The conversation died in an instant, and suddenly he was talking about football again. Uncle Rick looked uncomfortable, like he just realized I wasn't supposed to hear any of that. I didn't say anything, just grabbed my ice and walked away, but my mind was spinning. What the hell was Tyler investing in? Where was all this money coming from? Because if they had enough to throw into some ground floor investment, why were they still taking my money? The Nashville trip that exposed them. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously off. So I started paying closer attention. And the signs? They were everywhere. A few days later, Emma texted me, asking if I could send the next month's payment a few days early because of a surprise expense. I sent the money, but this time I added, "Everything okay?" She replied, "All good now. T checks bro, red heart." That same weekend, I was scrolling through Instagram, and guess what I saw? Emma and Tyler, on a trip to Nashville. Fancy hotel, upscale restaurants, VIP tickets to a country music concert. I stared at my phone, feeling like the dumbest idiot alive. Here I was eating 30-cent ramen in my crappy apartment while they were living it up on my dime. My first thought was, maybe someone else paid for the trip. Maybe a friend treated them. Maybe they won a contest. But deep down, I already knew. This wasn't a one-time thing. It was a pattern. And when I found out how deep the betrayal ran, I snapped. The truth comes out. A week later, I was having coffee with a guy named Carson, one of Tyler's coworkers. Just making casual conversation, I asked if their company was doing well. Carson grinned. "Hell yeah, we just landed that hospital contract. They even gave out bonuses." My stomach dropped. "Bonuses?" I asked, try to sound casual. Carson nodded. "Yeah, man. Tyler's been bragging about his for weeks. Said it was enough to finally start that investment portfolio his financial advisor recommended." I nearly choked on my coffee. Investment portfolio? Financial advisor. While I was working 10-hour shifts in a welding shop, covered in sweat and burns, eating scraps just to send them money, they were meeting with financial advisors? Starting portfolios? I clenched my jaw. When did he get this bonus? Carson thought for a second. Like 5 months ago? Maybe 6. 5 months. 4 or 5 months. They had been sitting on extra money while still taking mine. 5 months of me struggling while they were playing investors. I went home that night and did something I should have done a long time ago. I pulled out all my bank statements from the last 4 years. And when I totaled everything up, I had sent them almost $35,000. $35,000. Money that could have been my house fund, my retirement savings, my future. And then I called my grandma, because if anyone in the family knew what was really going on, it was her. And what she told me made my blood run cold. The betrayal runs deeper than I thought. When I called my grandma, I expected some confirmation that Emma and Tyler had been doing better financially than they let on. What I didn't expect was to find out that they had been straight up stealing from me. The second I brought up money, Grandma sighed. Jake, honey, I was hoping you'd figure it out sooner. I frowned. Figure what out? Grandma hesitated, then said something that hit me like a brick to the chest. That investment Tyler's been bragging about? It was meant for you. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. What? Your Uncle Pete told Tyler about it first, but it was originally meant for you. Pete thought you'd be interested, but Tyler convinced him you weren't. Said you were bad with money and wouldn't understand the opportunity. I gripped my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. He told Pete I was bad with money? That's not the worst part. Grandma's voice was shaking now, and she sounded furious. They used the money you sent them to buy into the investment. The one you should have had. I felt sick. 2 years. For 2 years, they had been making money off an investment that was supposed to be mine, while still begging me for cash. And then Grandma dropped the final bombshell. Jake, they laugh at you. They call you their personal ATM. Emma even told Penny that as long as they acted broke, you'd keep sending money. Everything inside me went cold. They weren't just using me. They were mocking me. I had been nothing but a joke to them. The moment I snapped, I barely remember the rest of the conversation with Grandma. All I know is that when I hung up, I was done. Done playing a nice guy. Done sacrificing my own future for people who saw me as a joke. Done letting them take another damn penny from me. And as if the universe was testing me, the very next day, Emma called. Right on schedule. Hey, Jake, she chirped like she wasn't a lying, manipulative snake. Just checking in. How's work? Things still crazy at the shop. I took a slow breath, keeping my voice steady. It's fine. Same old, same old. That's good, she said, but I could tell she didn't care. Then came the real reason for her call. Oh, by the way, do you think you could send this month's money a little early? We're thinking of redoing the kitchen backsplash before the wedding. I almost laughed. A kitchen backsplash. I had been killing myself at work, eating scraps, putting my entire life on hold. And she wanted money for a damn backsplash? I took another deep breath and said the words I should have said years ago. Yeah, about that. I'm actually having some money problems myself. I won't be able to send anything this month. Silence. Then Emma let out a nervous chuckle. Wait, you mean just this month, right? You're still helping us after that. I leaned back in my chair, feeling a calmness wash over me. I don't know, Emma. I've been covering your bills for 4 years. I think it's time I focused on myself for a change. Maybe use my money for my own investments. I emphasized that last word. Investments, just to see if she'd react. And she did. The silence stretched longer this time. Finally, she spoke, her voice different now. Sharpened. What's that supposed to mean? It means I know about the real estate deal. The one Uncle Pete originally told Tyler about for me. The one you and Tyler used my money to get in on. Dead. Silence. Then, finally, she muttered, Jake, it's not what you think. I cut her off. Oh, so you didn't lie to me for years? You didn't steal from me while laughing about it behind my back. She didn't answer. I took one last deep breath and said the words that officially ended this chapter of my life. I'm done, Emma. No more money. Ever. You and Tyler can live off your amazing investment from now on. And then I hung up. The fallout begins. The second I hung up, my phone started blowing up. Emma called back immediately. I ignored it. She called again. Ignored. Again. Ignored. By the next morning, I had 17 missed calls from Emma, 8 from Tyler, and over 30 text messages. They ranged from, We need to talk. You're making a huge mistake. I can't believe you do this to family. Blocked. All of them. And for the first time in 4 years, I felt free. That night, I did something small but symbolic. I ordered a pizza. A whole pizza. Just for me. With all the toppings I wanted. It was the first time in years I had spent money on something just because I wanted it. Tyler comes begging. 2 days later, there was a knock on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole. Tyler. I didn't even let him in. Just cracked the door open with the chain still on. What do you want? He put on his best fake friendly voice. Jake, man, this is all just a big misunderstanding. I crossed my arms. Oh yeah? So you weren't stealing from me? You weren't laughing at me behind my back. His face twitched. Look, people say stupid stuff sometimes when they're drinking. It didn't mean anything. Right. And I guess you also didn't tell Uncle Pete I was bad with money, so you could steal my investment? Tyler's fake smile disappeared. He let out a slow breath. Okay, look. Yeah, we messed up. But we need your help, man. The investment, it's not doing so well right now. We're kind of counting on your help. I stared at him in disbelief. Are you serious? You're still trying to get money out of me after everything? Tyler nodded. It's just temporary. Once the market bounces back. I cut him off. Guess you should have saved some of my money instead of buying new cars and watches, huh? And with that, I slammed the door in his face. Through the door, I heard him curse. You're making a big mistake, Jake. We're family. Yeah. Funny how they only remembered that when they needed something. That night, I did something that felt better than anything else I'd done in years. I opened a new savings account, and I deposited the $900 I would have sent Emma. First deposit of many. First step toward MY future. And for once, it felt damn good. A week after I cut them off, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I ignore unknown numbers, but something told me to pick up. Jake, it's Uncle Pete. That was weird. We weren't particularly close. He was my dad's younger brother, always more focused on his business deals than family gatherings. Got a minute? He asked. I need to talk to you about something important. We met at a small diner near my place. When he slid into the booth across from me, he looked uncomfortable. He stirred his coffee, even though he hadn't put anything in it. So, I heard what happened with Emma and Tyler. I leaned back. Yeah. He sighed. Jake, I need to tell you something. And I want you to hear it from me, not from them. I waited. That investment deal, the one Tyler and Emma stole from you, it was just the beginning. We've got a new opportunity coming up, one even bigger. And this time, I want you in on it. I raised an eyebrow. Why should I trust you now? Pete sighed. Because I cut Tyler out. Completely. When I found out what they did to you, I pulled some strings. They're not part of any future deals. They're done. And then, he slid a folder across the table. This is the new project. Commercial property development. Prime location, strong growth projections. Take a look. I opened the folder. The numbers were insane. A chance to make serious money. The kind that changes lives. Pete tapped the papers. I've already put your name down for a share. Consider it making up for lost time. I studied him, trying to decide if I could trust him. The guy had never really given me a reason not to trust him before. And honestly, I was done letting Emma and Tyler's betrayal hold me back. I'll think about it. I finally said. Pete nodded. That's fair. Just don't wait too long. We break ground next month. The next morning, I got a text from Carson, the guy who worked with Tyler. Dude, you won't believe this. Tyler showed up at the job site today, begging for his job back. I stare at my phone, shocked. What did your boss say? I texted back. Carson responded almost immediately. Told him to get lost. Tyler burned that bridge when he left, acting like a big shot investor. No one wants him back. I sat back, letting that sink in. Just weeks ago, Tyler had been on top of the world, acting like he was set for life, flashing his investments, buying cars, watches, luxury vacations. And now, he was unemployed, desperate, struggling. And that wasn't even the best part. That afternoon, Emma called me, from another unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Her voice was shaky, desperate. Jake, please, we need to talk. I said nothing, just waited. She took a deep breath. The investment went south. We're behind on the mortgage. And the wedding venue is threatening to cancel if we don't make a payment by Friday. I almost smiled. There it was. The real reason she called. She wasn't sorry. She was desperate. That sounds rough, I said, pretending to care. Her voice cracked. Jake, please. I know we messed up. I know we hurt you. But we're truly desperate here. Could you just help us one more time? Just to get back on our feet. I actually laughed. You mean like how I helped you for 4 years? Well, you stole my investment and laughed at me behind my back. Dead silence. Then she whispered, we're family. I leaned back, smirking. Funny how you only remember that when you need something. There was a pause, and then she asked, sharply, what investments? Oh, so Uncle Pete hadn't told her. I decided to twist the knife. Didn't Pete tell you? He offered me a spot in the new development. The one you and Tyler got kicked out of. The silence was glorious. Then she snapped. You can't be serious. Pete promised those spots to us. Not anymore, I said. Turns out he doesn't like being lied to either. And then, before she could beg, scream, or manipulate me any further, I hung up and blocked the number. The next month was delicious. Tyler couldn't find a job. No one in his industry wanted to touch him. Emma had to move back in with our parents. She lost the house. Too far underwater on the mortgage. The wedding? Canceled. Everything they had built, using my money, fell apart. Meanwhile, I signed my first real estate contract. Pete's deal was already shaping up to be a gold mine. And for the first time in years, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. 6 months later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let go to voicemail. A minute later, I saw the notification. Voicemail from Emma. I stared at my phone, debating whether to listen. Finally, curiosity got the best of me. I pressed play. Emma's voice was unrecognizable. Jake, I don't know what to do anymore. I've lost everything. Tyler is gone. The house is gone. I have nothing. And I know I don't deserve your help. Not after everything. But I'm scared. Please, Jake. Please don't turn your back on me. She sniffled. Mom's house is full, and I don't have anywhere else to go. I don't even recognize my life anymore. Please, Jake. Please. I deleted the voicemail without a second thought. Then came the texts. Emma. Jake, I have nowhere to go. Please, just a couch. That's all I need for now. I put my phone down and continued eating my dinner. For once, I felt no guilt. She had a house. She had money. She had a fiancé. And she threw it all away because of her own greed. Not my problem. The best investment I ever made. A few hours later, my mom called. I already knew what she was going to say. Jake, Emma is really struggling. I sighed. Mom, no. I'm done with her. She's still your sister, Mom said softly. I clenched my jaw. No, Mom. She was my sister. But the sister I had wouldn't have stolen from me. Wouldn't have laughed at me behind my back. That Emma? She's gone. Mom was silent for a long time. Then, finally, she whispered, I understand. That was the last time I ever talked about Emma. And the best part? Pete's real estate deal exploded in value. I made enough to put a down payment on my first house. Nothing fancy. Just a small 2-bedroom with a yard. But it was mine. For the first time in years, I was free. And let me tell you something. Cutting toxic people out of your life is the best investment you can ever make. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more real-life family dramas. Let me know in the comments what you think about today's story. Was it fair or totally messed up? See you in the NE.